Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer, and welcome to a new playthrough video. Today I am playing through the first Prelude episode in the new Feast of Hemlock Vale campaign for the Arkham horror card game. I'm going to go ahead and just read you the introduction. It's a bit long, so feel free to jump ahead if you don't want to hear this. It says, Intro 1, June 1926, Miskatonic Survey, June 1926, Members Marquez, Musgrave, et al. After 3 separate reviews by Miskatonic's University's Board and Grant Committee, we have reached Hemlock Isle. Our driver took us across a natural land bridge they called the Causeway, only transversable at low tide, to a small fishing village called Aquan. Bertie showed the locals several sketches and photographs of the alkaline blossom, but the locals would have none of it, or maybe none of him. Bertie is exceedingly chipper. The survey consists of myself, my assistant Bertie Musgrave, and some contacts of Dr. Armitage. He insisted they accompany me as part of the terms of the grant. I just hope they don't get in the way. The island is private property and has been off limits for visitors for some time, until now. The locals are advertising some kind of festival throughout New England, even as far south as Boston and Arkham. There were no lodgings in Aquan, and according to local rumors, camping on the island is a risky affair. The locals were unresponsive when I pressed further, but I was at least able to procure a map of the island, as well as some basic supplies. We were all but resigned in pitching a tent west of Aquan, but then we met a young man named Theo who offered us lodging in a village called Hemlock Vale, Dr. Rosa Marquez. All right, so we've met 2 people, Dr. Rosa Marquez and Bertie Musgrave. Those are, and then, of course, Dr. Rosa Marquez mentions that Dr. Armitage, who's with Miskatonic University, he's a well-known character in this game, has sent along some contacts that must be accompanied. The contacts are my investigators. I have selected Alessandra Zorzi, and I've selected Wilson Richards, the handyman. The Richards is going to be serving sort of as a bodyguard to Alessandra. Alessandra is a well-known thief, reformed thief, and she's very well known in Arkham, and she has interacted in some of the novels with many of the characters from this game, so she has quite the knowledge base of the mythos. And as far as I'm concerned, the handyman is probably the handyman at Wilson Richards at Miskatonic, and my guess is that Dr. Armitage has said, look, I need somebody. He doesn't believe that Alessandra can defend herself or make do, so he sent him along as a bodyguard. All right, so into the letter. But really, I think you're going to love it here, Theo shouts from the truck window. Dr. Marquez, athletic and well-tanned at 40, closes her survey journal and looks up at the sky. I don't know anyone who doesn't love Hemlock Isle, Theo continues, and I don't know why we haven't invited folks sooner. I assume you're here for the feast. Is this feast some sort of local tradition, Bertie says in a crisp British accent. The breeze stirs the round man's shock of thick hair as he leans forward eagerly. This is the first one ever. Everyone in the Vales pulled out all the stops so everyone feels welcome. We're just so excited to have visitors. The young man laughs as your truck crests the hilltop. Hemlock Isle stretches away in every direction. To the south, glistening black lakes dot a tangled marsh all the way to the coast. Up north, white-capped hills gather around jutting obsidian rocks, resembling an exposed spine. Past a huddle of hills, the dense western forest grows up to the rocky hillside, bisecting a wide river. And even further north, past the White Hills, is a bleak rocky coastline at the edge of the slaty Atlantic. The road takes you past lush farmlands into a village nestled in the hills. Gaudy floral arrangements and brilliant ribbons hang from rooftops and fence posts. A prismatic rainbow shimmers in a cloudless sky, lending the scene an idyllic air. As the truck rolls to a stop in the crossroads, locals and children in white gold cloaks and wooden animal masks gather around you, grinning from ear to ear. Willkommen! An imposing woman with steel gray hair and a white gold cloak cuts through the crowd. Welcome to Hemlock Vale. I am Mother Rachel, and these are my people. What brings you here? All right, now traditionally in this part, you have to be careful not to read too much. It usually gives you a decision to make. So let me see. It says the investigators must decide. We're here on a survey from Miskatonic. Proceed to Intro 2. We're here for the feast. Skip to intro 3. Well, I don't think there's any reason to lie here. They have been sent from Miskatonic, so I'm going to choose the first one. Now, metagaming, understanding how this game goes, my best guess is that if I choose to say we're here for the feast, I'll get some sort of advanced knowledge about the feast. But I try to play this as a story. And so I'm going to follow the story, which is we've been sent from Miskatonic University. So I'm going to say we're here on a survey. Proceed to intro 2. All right, intro 2 says, you introduce yourself and the members of the survey by name, along with your backing from Miskatonic University. Dr. Marquez leans heavily on her cane as she extends one hand to shake. Add one of this token to the chaos bag for the remainder of the campaign. All right, so I've already done the chaos bag, and I guess I should take a break here and explain. The chaos bag has tokens that I'll pull out. Sometimes they have numbers like +1, -1. Sometimes they have a symbol like this skull. And as you play the game, it will tell you how to interpret those tokens. Now, I have been asked, why do I play Arkham Horror, the campaigns, solo? Why do I play them solo, and why do I play them on easy mode? Okay, first off, easy mode. Easy mode is not easy. You can still die. You can still fail. It's just the tokens in here are not as damaging. There's like a -3 in there versus on the hard there'd be a -6. So there is some difference, but I prefer to experience the story. I want to get all the way to the end. I want to get as much of the story as I can. And to do that and to enjoy the game, I don't want to sit here worrying about my investigators getting killed out after one scenario. So I play the easy mode, not because it's easy, it does have some challenges, but because it gives me more of the story. Second, this bag does not start with an auto fail. On any of the difficulty levels, it tells you there is no auto fail token at the start. So I went ahead and filled the bag with +1, +1, 0, 0, 0, -1, -1, -1, -2, -2, 3, 2 skulls, and an auto succeed. Now I've just put in that token, and it says proceed to intro 4. So I skip this. Intro 4. Mother Rachel's friendly mask breaks for just a moment as she registers your response. Surveyors, I see. You are quite welcome here as well, but mind your place. We have rules. Do not harm anyone in the Vale, and we will not harm you. Keep to the village at night and take care out in the wilderness. Nature is crueler here. Down the road, a small doe walks alongside a pair of children, almost as if it contradicts the matron's words. Before you could ask her more, a gaggle of locals descends on the truck, eager for news from the mainland. After fielding multiple questions about sports and elections, Dr. Marquez suggests you split up to acquaint yourselves with the locals. Ask around about the island and meet back here in an hour. Proceed to setup. All right, so here we go. So this is I'm not looking at this part. I want to cover that up. This is going to tell me how to set up the Prelude, so I'm going to pause the camera very quickly, follow these instructions to get the deck set up properly, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my decks shuffled. I've got my first hand selected. I'll put hers right here. So a few things. This is the Hemlock Vale. My two investigators begin at the crossroads. You can see these pointers tell me where I can move during the game. This is a prelude. During the normal campaign, you can only move left, right, up, and down. You won't be able to move diagonally, but it says during the prelude you can move according to what these indicate. A few more things. There is no encounter deck to draw from, at the end of each round per investigator, so you don't have to worry about the dangers there. I do not get to mulligan, which is good because I didn't really need to mulligan when I drew their first hand, but if I had drawn a weakness, I would have had to put it in play. It says you cannot do a mulligan during the day encounters. I'm on day 1 with the sunlight up. So remember, this campaign will go day, night, day, night. Now it does begin with 2 doom tokens on the the agenda. And let me go ahead and read you the agenda. Welcome to Hemlock Vale. The Miskatonic Survey is staying in Hemlock Vale and making preparations for today's expedition. The more the locals trust you, the better you will understand the nature of Hemlock Isle. Forced, when you draw a weakness, cancel its revelation effect and discard it. So I guess I don't have to worry about weaknesses during daylight. Now the act, which this is what I want to advance, it says, the village brims with excitement. Children play along the roadside wearing animal masks, while others hang gaudy flowers on eaves and along fences. Investigators cannot take damage, horror, or be defeated. Objective, befriend the locals and prepare for your first survey. Refer to the rules on page 6. Okay, so good. So it's basically just wander the village and meet people, and they're in this deck, which I have not introduced yet. It said to set this aside. Remember, I'm playing on easy mode, and when this hits 6 doom tokens, this flips, and it'll probably tell me that the night has arrived or something like that. All right, each of my investigators begins with 5 resources, and I think I'm just going to have, I should have put Alessandra on this side. I'm going to have her go first. Remember, every investigator gets 3 actions, so they can move, they can parlay, they can do all kinds of stuff. By the way, at the end of each daylight session, it says, investigators will keep their cards in hand. So your cards in your hand carry over to the next game. Resources in place, so you keep the same number of resources. So if I have 10, I don't have to go back down to 5 at the start of a session. A single asset in their play area that does normally start. So if I get an asset out, I can keep it out. And then all clues. So the more clues I get, I can pass those over to the next game as well. For information on preludes and relation, okay, so I won't flip it over because these are those codex things which are supposed to be secret. So let's have, let's look at where we are. We're at the crossroads. So it says you ask, as an action, you ask the locals about the Vale. Or as a fast action, if there are exactly 1 or 2 investigators in the game during your turn, you can move to a connecting location. Group limit once per round. Oh, wow. So if there are exactly 1 or 2 in the game during your turn, you can do a move to a connecting location as a fast action. Group limit once per round. Group limit. So one person, one person can move per round, can get a free move, is basically what it is. It's about, if there are exactly 1 or 2, which there are, you can do a move. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so that gets you moving around much. So let's do this. Let's have her spend an action to ask the locals about the Vale. It says read Codex number 10. So this says 1 through 7. Let me flip it. Trying not to look at anything else. Codex 10, the crossroads. Dozens of workers bustle around the base of a large tree in the center of the crossroads. The many faces of the tree leer down at you with a myriad of expressions, some laughing, others pinched in grief or terror. Each expression is grotesquely exaggerated. When you ask one of the nearby carpenters about the tree, they pause to consider their words. This tree is the effigy, a likeness of, well, maybe it's best to think of it as a heavenly spirit, the same spirit that lives on in each of us. The foreman tells you that they will have to work through the night in anticipation of the rain tomorrow. As you watch them work, one carpenter trips and falls. Theo runs over from his truck and picks her up as she clutches her eyes and laughs hysterically. You may either draw a card or gain a resource. Search the set-aside residence for Theo and put him into play at the crossroads, asset side up. All right, so Theo is right here. Let me read his card. While you control him, you may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to move. As an action, choose and discard X cards from your hand, where X is the current day number. If I talk with Theo, I get to read number 8. Forced, after he is defeated, set him aside out of play. In your campaign log, decrease Theo Peters' relationship level. So it means you better defend him. Okay. He's an asset. So choose and discard where X is the current. So you can take him. While you control him, you may take additional actions, which can only choose and discard X cards from your hand where X is the current day number. As an action, parlay with him. Well, let's do that. Let me discard X card. It's day 1, so I have to discard 1 card from my hand to parlay. And she has that skill. Well, they all have that skill, but she's very good at it. What do I want to get rid of? I don't think I need the weapon today. So I'm going to discard that. And this would have been the event deck, but I'm putting it aside. We don't use it. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to do a parlay with him, and I read number 8. Theo Peters. Hold on, Theo says to the worker, pressing a cold cloth to her forehead. After another pained laugh, she passes out. You ask Theo what happened. It's kind of like heat stroke, except more like you sort of work yourself into a good mood, and then it's, well, he sighs, I don't really know what it is. Sometimes people just get sick. Several locals carry the worker away to a nearby shed. After some banter, you ask Theo about any good areas to survey local wildlife on Hemlock Isle. He smiles broadly. My sisters and I saw the biggest horseshoe crab on Act 1 shoreline. I don't know if it's still there, but I swear it was the size of a buggy. I have some family business in Act 1 if you want to tag along today. You may immediately move to any location. Increase Theo Peters' relationship level. All right, so I'm going to make a note that Theo, each one of these, they have a friendship from 0 up until whatever. And they can also go negative down to 0. So it says to increase his relationship level. So I'm going to put Theo as +1. And I may immediately move to any location. I think because he is an asset, I can take him. Jack of all trades. Resident. While you control him, you may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be used to move. But this one says you may immediately move to any location. So let's go ahead and take him as an asset. I think you just play him. I think you just say, I'll tag along, so he's with me. So her first action was to talk, and her second action was to talk to Theo, and she's got a third action. Let me do this to track it. Her third action, she gets a free move, so let's do that. Let's move her to Hemlock Chapel. Why not? As an action, you approach the overgrown chapel at the top of the hill. I can go talk to someone at the chapel. So I moved for free because it said you may immediately move, and I've still got Theo, and it says choose and discard X from your hand where X is the current day number to parlay with him. I've already done that, so I can't do that again. And it says, while you control him, you may take an additional action during your turn, which can only be done to move. So I can move again after I do this third action, which is to talk to, I have to spend an action to do number 11. Hemlock Chapel. The small chapel atop the Vale's northern hill has a hushed, stately air. Small buds have been grafted in such a way as to suggest the planks themselves are blooming. While you admire this strange phenomenon, 2 women in white gold cloaks approach. You ask them more about the chapel and their faith, and they usher you inside. A stylized quilt at the back portrays a warped, many-armed mythological being with numerous eyes and wings. We built this chapel some 20 years ago, but it didn't see much use until our revival. Mother Rachel has always called us children of the stars. I suppose this is one such star. The 2 women go silent as Mother Rachel enters the chapel. You may draw a card or gain a resource. You know what? I forgot to do that when I was at the boarding house, the crossroads. So let's draw a card. I got Overpower, which won't help me much since I don't expect combat. And now I get to draw a card or gain a resource. I will gain a resource. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. I think you can have a maximum of 8 in your hand when the turn ends. Okay, so she did her third action, but, and it says, search the set-aside residence for Mother Rachel and put her into play. So Mother Rachel. Okay, there's Mother Rachel. She's an asset. While you control Mother Rachel, you have 1 additional arcane slot. This is weird. After Mother is defeated, so I'll have to look up the rules for this, but I can't take her anyway. I've already got 1 ally, and you have to have charisma to get 2 allies out. So I've got Theo. Theo is an ally. Put him here. My switchblade is my discard, so I need to make sure I do this right. All right, so Theo is one of my controlled cards. So she took her 3 actions. But because she's with Theo, she can do 1 free move. So I tell you what, I'm going to move to the Atwood house for free. And her turn is done, so I flip her to the darkened side here. Now it is Wilson Richards. Wilson Richards has a guard dog ally. He has a machete weapon. But again, weapons aren't really, and a knife. These weapons aren't really going to come in handy right now. Although they do carry over. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten rid of that knife. I don't know. All right, let's see what we got. He, as a group, so I've already investigated this. Where can we move to? I can do one free move because there's 2 investigators in the game. As a fast action, I can do a move once per round. So I will do it this once to the boarding house. So that's like a free move. Now that I'm here, I can ask around the Vale. I will spend that as an action. So 1 action gone. Number 9, the boarding house. Blossoming garlands hang from every eave of the boarding house. A succulent smell wafts out the front door. Meat pies and beer brewing. The proprietor introduces herself as Mrs. Olmsted and offers you a room. I keep my eye on happenings around town. If you want to know what folks get up to in the Vale, I'm happy to help. When you ask about the beer, she waves one hand dismissively. Don't bother reporting me to the prohibitionists. We keep our own rules on Hemlock Isle, she tells you, then gives a sidelong look at the porch. That is, unless someone gets their way. You look in on the porch to see a gorgeous figure with skin the color of umber. They wear a trendy dress with a white gold veil cloak tossed casually over their shoulders as they embroider a floral pattern on a round frame. Bertie sheepishly questions them, holding up a few photographs and sketches of the sample that drew you here. You may draw a card or gain a resource. Well, let's draw a card. I got guts, okay. Set aside the residence for, search the set aside residence for River Hawthorne. Okay, River Hawthorne, and put them into play at the boarding house. River Hawthorne, when you control her, you get +1 will. She can parlay forced after, okay, so that's an interesting ally, but you know what? I don't want these allies to die. I know that when they die in the game, that's not good. So I'll put her here. I'm not going to use her right now as an ally because I've got a guard dog, which I want to hold on to. And it's an asset, so if I play it, I can get it back on the next game. Excuse me. So he took his first action. Second action, I think it's advantageous to get to as many locations as I can. So let's go to the Vale Schoolhouse. That was his second action for a move. You peruse. As an action, I can peruse the school library. Let's do that. Number 15. So so he got a free move. He just did this. He got a free move. He asked about the Vale. Then he moved. Now he's going to do his third action to do the library. Schoolhouse, excuse me. Number 15. The bell atop the schoolhouse rings 3 times as you approach, summoning children in animal masks. A young red-haired girl in a rabbit mask trips and falls on her way in, and you help her up. The thin, severe teacher invites you inside and gestures at the 2 bookshelves against the back wall. The Vale's meager community library. A stately middle-aged man with hickory brown skin and a gray beard peruses the other shelf as you look at the library's offerings. A few battered issues of Tales from Nevermore, a survival handbook, and a handwritten stack of old recipes. But where's Edie? One of the children asks the teacher. She replies in a sing-song voice. Mother Rachel told me that Edie has found her place and that we shouldn't worry about her. Now what do we say? Mother Rachel knows best, the class says in unison. You may draw a card or gain a resource. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will draw a card. I got a knife. All right. Set aside the resident William Hemlock. Put him into play at the schoolhouse. So William Hemlock. Last one. All right. There we go. Oh, I need to talk to him to get number 4. Shoot. I bet you I have to talk to... Oh, I have to talk to... I did Theo. I didn't do Mother... I didn't do that one. May have to go back and do that one. Okay, so William is done. That is his final turn. He was at the schoolhouse. That is the end of the round. It is now... what phase is it? Refresh phase, where everybody gets a resource and draws a card. Draws a card, gets emergency cash. She draws a card and gets leather jacket. Okay. All right, so their turns are all done. I'll reset their turn trackers here. And it's now time for the enemy phase. There are no enemies. They don't do anything. So we place a Doom token. And we do not draw event cards because there are no event cards here. And now it is the next round. All right, so let's have her. We need to go. If I go here, I can't cut across here. But if I go here, I can cut across this way. So I will have her go down for one action. For one action, she will move to the old mill. For her second action, it says after you discover oh, she can investigate here. Let's do that. It says after you discover a clue, then you get to read 12. All right, so I have to investigate. Her investigate is 4, and it's got a shroud of 2. And do I have anything that could help me with that? I really don't want to fail it. Sure, I can do. Well, I can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. I could do Intel Report, which gives me 2 icons. Discover, or if I pay 2, I can discover. So I'm just going to contribute 2 to the discard. So now I'm up to 6, and there is no auto fail in the bag. So 6 versus 2, I feel pretty good. 6 minus 0 is 6, so I get the clue, and this should be a 1 clue. She's discovered a clue. Actually, it goes on her board. And it says, now you can read 12. So let's go to 12. The Old Mill. Dr. Marquez leans precariously on her cane as she takes samples of various wildflowers around the mill. Take a look at this. The professor holds out a sample that looks like a blend of brilliant violet, trillium, and lupine flowers spliced at the stem. It's similar to the strange blossom that prompted the survey. Monopodial with dozens of different expressions, but no evidence of grafting. It grew naturally. You ask how this is possible, and the professor grins. It isn't, which is exactly why this survey is going to make my career. As you leave Dr. Marquez to her sample collecting, you spot a sturdy, well-built woman in overalls working the field. You can draw a card or gain a resource. I will. She's got 5. I'll draw a card. I'm good on resources for right now. She got a gun, so we got a weapon. All right. Then it says, look at the residence for Leah Atwood. All right, Leah Atwood. Here she is. Leah Atwood is at the Old Mill. Okay. Leah, while you control her, you get +1 fight. She can parley, test. So let's go ahead and talk to her. Okay. So, I did my second action, which was to investigate. And for her third action, I will do the parley test 2 fist. It says you may take, her special skill is you may take an additional action, which can only be used to parley. So I will use her, so I don't have to spend the second action, because I'm doing the free part. You may take an additional action, which can only be used to parley, which is what I'm going to do. Her fist is 2. Versus 2, so not good. So what can I can do overpower, and I'm going to use both of these to add 4 to it. So 2 plus, that's 6 versus 2 again. I will do that. 6 versus 2. And I got the 0 again. So I can read number 2. Leah Atwood. The red-cheeked older woman introduces herself as Leah Atwood, Mother Rachel's sister. I'm in charge of everything folks around here put in their bellies. And yes, that means I'm in charge of the feast. My sister has been very particular about everything she wants prepared in advance. You ask her about any points of interest to survey in Hemlock Isle, and she wipes her brow with a gloved hand. You barely need to leave the Vale before you see something odd. She puts one hand on her hip. I'm planning to go up to Pearl Ridge today. Something up there turned the trees to glass. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for, but it is definitely unique. You may play a tool card from your hand, ignoring its cost. Increase Leah's relationship level. I don't think I have a tool. Item, ally, item. I do not, so I can't do that. But I can do Leah Atwood +1. Okay. All right, so she's going to the forest where they're turned to trees, but I'm not going to be going with her, obviously. She just told me where she's going. Okay, and then so I moved, which was my first action. I discovered a clue, which was my second. Excuse me. I moved, and then I investigated. I parlayed for 3, so I've got one more action. One more. I will move back to the crossroads, and she is done. I forgot to reset her card, flip it over, but she is done. All right, so that was 3 actions. Now, Theo, I can discard X from your hand, where X is the current day, and I already did that. While you're controlling me, you can take an additional action, which can only be done to a move. So let's do that. I'm going to move up here to Mother Rachel and talk to her on my next turn. So I did that. That Theo card is excellent, getting that extra move. And she is done. All right. It is now Wilson's turn. Wilson. So I've done it. This one, you approach the old homestead. Oh, you know what? I never actually did anything there, did I? I don't think I did. The Atwood house. I did not. Oh, well. That was dumb. I didn't. I got to come back and investigate that. All right. He's at the Commons, right? Yeah, he was here. Okay. Aspiring poet. All right. Okay. He's at the library. He already investigated. No, this was the one. This was here. Okay. So I haven't gone to the Commons yet. He will move for 1 action. I'm going to use, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to, you inspect the communal hall, this is the Commons, and check out the local as an action. So for my second action, I will go to read number 16. Number 16. Oh, where is it? The Commons. Welcome to the Vale. A young woman with a bob cut greets you as you enter the double barn doors. It's been so long since we had visitors. One thing you got to know about the Vale is that we do most everything in the Commons. I know Sister Leah is planning a community dance tomorrow evening. Hey, Gideon, no smoking inside, the woman barks at an old man in a long blue sailor's coat in the corner. He stands up and hobbles outside, grumbling. You notice the corkboard on the back wall is pinned with children's drawings of plants and birds with extra teeth, eyes, and limbs. The woman breaks your focus. If you ever want to call for anyone back on the mainland or, send a gift to a special someone in the village, I'm your girl. You can call me Martha Jean. Search the top 9 cards of your deck for an ally and add it to your hand. For an ally. I already have an ally. 1, 2... Search the resident. No. Hold on. And then shuffle your deck. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do I have another ally? Probably not. I only have 1 ally. No, I do not. All right, so shuffle it. Okay. And by the way, I saw a weakness card, but it doesn't matter because when you draw a weakness card on anything, you have to keep it. But that says to ignore them. All right, shuffled that. All right, so shuffling out, I did that. Search the deck for Gideon Mizra and put him into play. Gideon Mizra. Okay. And he goes, Gideon is, while you control him, you have 1 additional accessory slot. Parlay to get us to read story number 6. Well, let's do that. The parlay is free. It does not take me anything. So for his third and final action, I will parlay with Mizra and read number 6. Gideon Mizra. You're no good, Martha Jean, mumbles the old man. He regards you warily until you mention coming from Arkham. Might have been some 30 years back I sailed past a queer light beneath the Miskatonic River. The old sailor story quickly meanders into 5 other less interesting tales, but you listen till the end. When you ask about local points of interest, he replies, look out. You won't take 5 steps out of the Vale before something bites ye. Draw 3 cards. Nice. 1, 2, 3. Now I have to go down to 8 at some point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ugh, got to discard 3. Okay, and then it says increase Mizra's relationship. So Mizra goes up +1. And my best guess is these relationships will have some effect later in the game when I encounter them. Excuse me for all the coughing. I've been sick lately. All right, so I did that, and his turn is done. I used the free move here for her, so that is that. All right, now I draw a resource each. They each draw a card. Actually, hold on. His turn, end of the turn, had to go down 3, so I will get rid of Guts. I'll get rid of Evidence. There's nothing to see here. I'll get rid of which one does better? I'll get rid of the knife, the machete. I'll keep the knife. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I got 8 in my hand. Okay, I get to draw a card, and I get to keep it because it's only at the end of your turn you'd go down to 8. And then did she draw a card? I don't think I did. No, I did not. Draw a card for her. They both got their resources. What did I draw? Flashlight. Okay. Then no creatures. I up the Doom token. It's at 4 out of 6. So I'm getting there. I'm getting a lot done. And let's see. It now goes back to Alessandra.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the Tabletop Engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.
All right, Alessandra is here. She will parlay with Mother Rachel. She needs to test 2 will. Her will is 3. Is there anything I can do to help with that? Yes, I can do the lucky cigarette to give me 1. So that bumps me up to 4 versus 2. I can't do anything else. I don't have any wilds. So 4 versus 2. This is her first action. 4 versus 2. I draw that. Man, that's the luckiest draw I've ever had. Although there are 3 zeros in the bag. So I do manage to parlay with her. And so I get to read number 1. Okay. Mother Rachel. What are the children of the stars? Mother Rachel echoes your question, bemused. Dust swirls in the harsh light through the intricate stained glass. I suppose if I had to put it simply, we all are. Begotten by light, I often say. Like heavenly bodies, we each have a place in this life, a purpose. There are some whose place it is to understand, and others whose place is to watch. The older woman smiles faintly as a line of children file into the chapel to sit cross-legged near the altar. And now, it is my time to begin story time. You may play a charm or spell, ignoring its cost. Well, I don't have a spell or a charm. I don't think I do have a charm. I do not. So, can't play anything there. That was her first action. I need to get over here, so I will move here for my second action. Now for the third action, you approach the old homestead. Read number 13. Okay. So I talked, moved. Now this is the third action. 13, the Atwood House. The old Empire-style manor is handsome at a distance, but looks faded and worn as you approach. An old woman with smoky brown skin and an ashen complexion sits in a wheelchair at the entrance. Her hands shake as she lets out a weak cough. It's time, Sylvia. An elderly man emerges from the house and startles when he sees you. Oh, visitors already. You can call me Brother David, and this is Sister Sylvia. I'm Mother Rachel's husband. We're so happy you're here. As he pushes Sylvia inside, you hear rustling branches around the side of the house. You may draw a card or gain a resource. I will draw a card. Ooh, I got a beguile card. Okay, that's good. That's good. Where am I? The Atwood. You may draw a card. Okay, search the set-aside residence for Simeon Atwood and put him into play. All right, Simeon. Well, there's Simeon. Simeon, while you control him, you gain +1 agility. Okay, done. For her last action, I'm going to use Theo. I'm going to burn a card. I'll burn Beguile. Well, after Beguile, I'll burn Beguile, and I get a free move. So I'm going to move back to the crossroads. That gives me the best options here. All right, now if I get him up here, I will have talked to everybody on the map. So Wilson, his first action will be to move. And second action, it says parlay. You haggle for goods and chat with the locals. Read 14. Codex 14, Tad's General Store. The rustic general store also doubles as a pharmacy. A balding middle-aged man with bandaged arms stands behind the counter and introduces himself as Tad. We're so happy to have visitors in the Vale. I know Mother Rachel is just off her rocker with excitement to see fresh new faces. And it's good for business too. I'll give you a newcomer discount today if you're buying anything. It goes without saying, but you're all invited to the community meal this evening. You may spend one resource to search your deck for an item and play it, ignoring its cost. Any investigator who has not resolved this effect may trigger this codex again. So, okay, so let's do that. You may spend one resource to search your deck for an item. An item. I could do a tool belt. I don't have many items. I do have a gun. I may do that one. I've got a flashlight and another gun and a flashlight. Let's do the gun. Does it say I have to? You may spend one resource to search your deck and play it. It doesn't say to shuffle your deck. Okay, I will play this card for one resource. Okay. And so he moved and he parlayed. So he did his second action. And his third and final action, let me get the guy out. What was it? Tad. Search the resident for Judith Park. Okay, there is no Tad. Judith, the muscle. While you control her, you may take an additional action which can only be used to fight. Ooh, these allies are really good. All right. I will have to figure out how to use these allies. I think you just tell them to follow you, and then when you're done with them, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. That is his third and final action. No, that was his second action. He moved, he parlayed, so he's got one more action. So he could play a resource. Let's. Now I can only carry over I get to keep my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll have to get rid of one card. Not really. If I play one, I will play, oh, you know what? Let's play the emergency cash. Because then I get 3 resources, and resources carry over. All right, so loading up. And that is his third and final turn. He is done. She finished. It's the end of the round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I get to draw a card and get a resource. So he spent a resource and he gets it right back. And then she gets to draw a card. Ooh, I got my weakness. And do you draw weaknesses? When you draw a weakness, cancel its effect. Okay, so you cancel it. So it's gone. And she gets a resource. Okay, put a doom token. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the last. The next round there will be 6, and this will advance. So is there anything for me to do at this point? I've done commons, Atwood, Old Mill, Hemlock, Theo, Boarding House, Crossroads. I have done them all, haven't I? Oh, I didn't do Judith Park. I didn't do her. Okay, so I got to read her card. I knew there was something else I didn't do. William Hemlock. That was at the Vale Schoolhouse. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then Mother did some 6. Okay, so yeah, so I think that was it. I think I did them all. All right, so I put the doom, so flip these back over. Let's have her go. She can go to the general store and do that thing where I get to search through my deck and get an item for one, which I am going to do. I may get her gun in play. Isn't that terrible? They're walking around armed. I got a knife, a flashlight, A British Bulldog revolver. Yes, I can ignore the cost, so I'm doing that. And that'll do it, yeah. Okay, excellent. So I have a resource out. So she, what did I do with her thing? Oh yeah, she moved here. She will parlay with her as an action spend where X is the current day to parlay. Okay, so it's current day 1, so I spend a resource, and I get to read number 7. Number 7? Judith Park, yeah. You approach a compact woman in a handsome hunting jacket who eyes you like a hawk. You introduce yourself in the survey, and she flicks ash from the tip of her cigar. Name's Judith, Judith Park. I'm the muscle around here, which mostly means shooting rowdy animals. They look all nice and friendly during the day, but they get weird at night. Some of them have started to look a little strange, too. Occasionally, one will wander into the village, and I have to introduce him to old Jomo. She brandishes a hunting rifle almost as long as she is tall. Impressed, you ask her if she's available for hire. The woman sizes you up. Your friend Marquez hired me to escort her to Eastwick Bog today. Be prepared if you come along. You may play a weapon card from your hand, ignoring the cost. Increase Judith Park's relationship level. Judith Park, +1. And I get to play another weapon, which, do I really want to do that? Because I'm going to have to pick it up and shuffle it, so it doesn't really matter. So no, I'm going to leave the Derringer alone. All right. So she went 1, 2, and she can do 1. And no, she moved. She parlayed. And she also parlayed here. So she has got 3 actions. I could move again with Theo, but I'm not going to. So she's done. Is there anything else I need to do? If there one, okay. I did that. Search your deck for a tome asset and draw it. I don't have any tomes for him. Heal a damage or horror. That wouldn't have helped. Nope. Nope. Inspect the communal hall. Nope. Search the top 9 cards for a spell. Nope. And nope. So I think I have done it all. So that's it. Let's just say he retires. That puts 6 on here. I flip this over and it says, Birdie approaches, absolutely winded. Dr. Marquez requests your immediate presence, he huffs, butting into your conversation. And believe me, she will not like it if you're late. Each investigator resigns. Read R1. Okay, so I go to R1. Do not read until the end. All right, resolution 1. Here we go. You meet Dr. Marquez and Birdie back at the crossroads. After each of you shares some possible leads for the survey, the professor lays out the map of Hemlock Vale. I didn't expect the village to be so religious, says Dr. Marquez. Birdie lights up in response. They almost seem to be living in some transcendentalist ideal. I have no idea what they actually believe, mind you, but they seem friendly enough. Friendly's a word for it, Dr. Marquez smiles grimly. We have a good 3 days before the island is overrun with tourists. I hate tourists. That sounds rather ill-natured, given the celebration, Birdie ventures. Dr. Marquez gives him a withering look. What I mean is that they'll disrupt the local habitats, so our time is limited. We can split up to cover more ground, or we can stick together. Theo has volunteered to drive us anywhere we need to go, and even said we could take his truck at night, though we aren't to tell Mother Rachel. Given the stories of deadly wildlife, I've hired Judith to accompany me to Eastwick Bog. Either of you are welcome to join, just be back by sundown. I plan to take a walk to the western woods, Birdie says, alone, if you don't mind. If Mrs. Olmsted's descriptions are to be believed, they shall be quite stunning. You consider your options. Make preparation for your first survey. Choose 1 asset in your play area to keep for the next scenario. Well, I will choose the gun. Okay. And he's going to choose the gun. It must be one that does not normally start in play. They do not. Discard each other asset in play. Discard down to your opening hand size. So I have to go down to 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got to go down to 4. I will get rid of, I'm going to keep Guard Dog and Survival Knife. I got 2 Survival Knives, so I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Since we're going out at night, I better take the fighting. I'll do that. Okay, so he's down to 5, and I get to keep the Colt in play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to put it like this, and I'm going to put his card on top to indicate that's how his deck will start. And then hers, I have to go down to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's only got 4 cards. The British will stay up, the gun, and her card will go on top. They start with 3, 3. All right. Discard down to your starting resources. You got to go down to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That stinks. I thought you could keep them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should have been spending some of those. You know what? I could have, but you can only have 1 asset, so it doesn't matter. The ally won't stay in play. All right. Exploring the Isle is dangerous. Add 1 auto-fail token to the chaos bag. Okay, there we go. I was wondering when that was going to get added in. Let's see what I got here. These are my extras. No auto-fail there. No auto-fail there. There it is. 1 auto-fail. All right. So that will go into the bag. So now you have a chance to auto-fail. All right, let's keep going. When setting up the next scenario, skip steps 1 to 8 of setting up the game on page 27 of the rules reference. That probably just tells you, let me see, what does that do? When setting up the next scenario, skip steps 1 to 8 of setting up the game. Oh, you know what that is? That's about, that's like how to get your character set up, and yeah, it's all that good stuff, because I've already done my character. Okay, the investigators must choose where to survey today. You will have the opportunity to survey multiple areas over the course of the campaign. To the north mines lie empty and overrun. To brave the dangers of Written Rock, turn to page 10. South, Old Hemlock House is said to be host to a strange infestation. The devastated Pearl Ridge up northwest is covered in a persistent layer of white ash. Northeast is Aquan, a dwindling settlement of Abenaki and mariners on the Dr. Marquez believes Eastwick Bog may be the origin of the sample that drew you here to discover. So do I want to go with her, or do I want to strike out? Let's strike out. Let's just try to do these maybe in order. Let's go to the North Point Mines. So I'll be doing Written in Rock on page 10. So the next scenario I play will be called Written in Rock. I'll just set this aside. I'm just going to leave these here as is. She gets to keep the clues. Clues carry over, which is good. I don't think there were any other clues I could have gotten on this one. There was just that one clue. One clue. All right, that is it. This is going in the bag. And that is the end of the Prelude scenario. Thanks for hanging with me. That was a long one. But the next video in this series will be the very first scenario called Written in Rock. That one will be dangerous, I have a feeling. All right, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me as I start the new Arkham Horror card game called Feast of Hemlock Vale. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, everybody, take care.